I killed my own reflection 2 days after they stole my life. Not with a blade or a bullet. Nothing so crude, but with a virus uploaded straight into the neural net that bound us together. Watching as her eyes, my eyes, flickered out like a bad stock ticker. She was denied a promotion. 2 days later, everyone was desperate to reach her for advice.
And I,
the ghost in the machine, made damn sure they never would. It started in the glass towers of Manhattan, where ambition isn't just currency, it's the air you breathe until it chokes you. I was Natalie Voss, 34, VP of Strategy at Hale Dynamics, the kind of firm that builds drones for the Pentagon and apps that predict your next breakdown before you do. I'd clawed my way up from a Jersey trailer park, trading midnight Red Bulls for Ivy League night classes, because in America, you don't get handed the dream, you hack it out of the code. Victor Hale, the CEO, was my ticket. Charismatic bastard. Silver fox with a jawline sharper than his quarterly reports. He mentored me, fucked me in the executive suite after hours, whispered promises over Scotch neat. You're the future.
net så vitenskapelig.
I'll make you queen. But queens get dethroned. 6 months ago, the boardroom buzzed like a hive on E. My promotion to Chief Innovation Officer was a lock. Everyone knew it. I'd spearheaded Project Echo, the neural interface that could swap consciousnesses between bodies for therapeutic trials. Think paralysis patients walking again, or trauma victims shedding their scars. Victor called it revolutionary. The brass called it a billion-dollar baby. I was the brain behind it, the one who debugged the ethics nightmares so it wouldn't fry a user's synapses. The denial came via email, cold as a server crash. Due to recent internal review, we're pivoting leadership. No call.
No coffee clutch explanation. Just that.
I stormed his office, heels clicking like gunfire on marble. Victor leaned back in his leather throne, tie loose, smirking like he'd just closed a merger. It's politics.
Net så vitenskapelig.
The board spooked by the FDA whispers. Echo's too hot right now. Bullshit. I spat, slamming the door. You promised me this. We built it together. His eyes, those predator blues, narrowed. Together? You were the tech grunt. I sold the vision.
And now?
There's a glitch. He slid a tablet across the desk. Audit logs from Echo's black box trials. Embezzlement flags. Siphoned funds to offshore shells. My name stamped all over it, like I'd personally wired the cash to his Cayman mistress. I didn't, but the logs were ironclad, timestamps syncing to my access codes. Someone had framed me, deep and dirty. Victor's hand on my arm, squeezing just hard enough to warn. Step down quietly.
Net så vitenskapelig.
Or the feds get a front row seat. Betrayal hit like a blackout. He'd been skimming from day one, using my clearances as cover. The secret he'd buried? Project Echo wasn't just therapy. In the sublevels, away from prying eyes, Victor had twisted it into a escape hatch for the elite. Swap your failing meat suit for a fresh one when the Reaper knocks. He'd tested it on lab rats, then convicts. And me? I was collateral, the fall guy for his empire of shadows. That night, in my Astoria walk-up, I paced circuits around the kitchen island, wine glass trembling. Call the cops? Whistle blow? In this town, that was suicide by subpoena. Victor owned half the judges, the other half via donations.
No.
Revenge needed teeth. I cracked open my laptop, dove into Echo's source code, the one copy I'd squirreled away before the purge. Lines of quantum entanglement, synaptic mapping. If it could swap souls, maybe I could hijack the ride. Dawn broke gray and unforgiving. I drove to the lab under the Williamsburg Bridge, badge still active because bureaucracy moves like molasses. Security nodded me through, Victor's arrogance, assuming I'd slink away broken. The chamber hummed in the sterile white, 2 pods like coffins from a sci-fi fever dream, wired to a console pulsing green. I synced my neural implant, the prototype I'd volunteered for, back when trust was a thing, and initiated a solo loop. Not a full swap, just a mirror test. Me to me. Prove it worked without a donor body. The world dissolved in static. Pain like lightning in my veins.
Then.
Nothing. I woke strapped to the AUX pod, monitors beeping frantic. Across the room, my body stirred in the primary unit. But the eyes that opened weren't mine.
Cold. Calculating.
Victor's. You bitch, he rasped, voice mine but laced with his gravel. He ripped free, staggering to the console. What the fuck did you do? I tried to scream, but the throat was wrong, raspy, male, tasting of cigars and deceit. My hands, his hands, were meaty, veined, twice the size. I was in Victor Hale's body. He'd piggybacked the loop, overriding from his remote access in the penthouse. The bastard had anticipated me, turned my Hail Mary into his jackpot. Insurance, he said, smirking with my lips, straightening my skirt like it was his new armor. You think I didn't wire the code for overrides?
Eos minne. Naturvidenskabelig.
Always was. He left me there, cuffed to the pod with his own security protocols. Hours blurred into a haze of rage. When the night shift found him, I played the part, stammered about a glitch, called in a lockdown. By morning, Natalie Voss was the hero who saved Victor from a neural short. Me, locked in a psych eval, doped on haloperidol, shipped to a black site clinic in the Adirondacks. Victor, in my skin, waltzed back to the C-suite.
Promotion s'il d'Auvernicht.
Whispers spread. She'd cracked the code. Stabilized Echo. Boards begged for her input. Investors flooded her inbox. She was denied a promotion. 2 days later, everyone was desperate to reach her for advice. But I was rotting in Victor's husk, a king without a crown. The clinic was a fortress of white coats and NDAs, funded by Hale Dynamic Slush. They called it reintegration therapy, but it was a cage. Daily scans to remap the swap, needles probing for synaptic drift. I endured, plodding in the mirror, staring at his sagging jowls, the paunch from too many power lunches. This body was a roadmap of his sins, liver spots from sun-kissed yachts, knuckles scarred from fraternity brawls. I learned its rhythms, its tells. And in the stolen hours, I hacked their network with a smuggled thumb drive, Echo's backdoor whispering secrets. The betrayal festered. Victor hadn't just framed me, he'd buried deeper. Digging through encrypted drives, I unearthed the vault, recordings of boardroom deals, bribes to senators for Echo's fast track. And the crime I'd borne? A whistleblower, Dr.
Elena Ruiz.
My mentor had caught wind of the illicit trials. Victor dosed her coffee with fentanyl-laced junk from a street connect, staged it as OD. Her death? Pinned on me. This stressed subordinate with access to pharma samples. Elena's ghost fueled me. Her final email a fragment I'd pieced. He's not swapping bodies. Natalie. He's swapping sins. Escape came on a stormy November eve, thunder rattling the clinic's Kevlar windows. I dosed the orderlies with their own sedatives, ironic. That, and hot-wired a staff jeep. The drive south was a blur of I-87. Victor's Rolex ticking like a bomb on the dash. I ditched the ride in Albany. Boarded a Greyhound as Ron Hale, his estranged brother, identity swiped from a dusty personnel file. Cash from his wallet. Cards maxed before the flags hit.
By dawn,
I was in Philly, crashing a dive bar under flickering neon, nursing a Boilermaker that tasted like ash in his throat. Revenge isn't a sprint, it's a siege. Victor, in my body, was untouchable, parading as the Wunderkind, Echo greenlit for human trials. Headlines crowed, Voss revolutionizes medicine, but cracks spiderwebbed. I fed them. Anonymous drops to journos, leaked memos on the convicts' donor bodies. Sourced from Supermax auctions. Victor squirmed, my old colleagues eyeing me with doubt. He doubled down. Controversial as hell. Announced Echo for executive enhancement. Swap your burnout shell for a younger model. If you could afford the black market slot. I watched from shadows. His body a disguise in flannel and trucker caps. Injected low-dose steroids to bulk the frame. Dyed the silver hair black. Grew a beard like sandpaper. Became Nick Voss, irony's knife twist, a freelance coder slinging gigs on dark web forums. Each payday funneled to a ghost account. Building my arsenal. Code for a neural worm. Echo's Achilles. Allies emerged wary, a hacker collective from Brooklyn. Owed favors by Elena's family, a disgruntled ex from Victor's harem. Spilling pillow talk poisons. The decisions gnawed, dark. Debatable forks in the road. Do I torch Hale Dynamics with a data dump? Nuking innocence jobs? Or slice surgical? Carving Victor alone? I chose Gray. Infiltrated a gala in D.C. Nick as +1 to a lobbyist mark. There, across the chandelier glow, was Natalie, poised in emerald silk, laughing with senators. My laugh twisted sinister. Our eyes met, hers widening in feral recognition. She excused herself, cornered me in a service stairwell. You look like shit. Vic, she hissed, voice mine but venomous. Give it up.
swap back.
And maybe I let you rot in Rikers instead of the void. I grabbed her wrist, my wrist, hard enough to bruise. That's not how this ends.
Naturvidenskabelig.
You stole my life. You stole everything.
Elena.
My future. Now crawl back to your pod. She lunged, nails raking his cheek, my cheek. I shoved, her head cracking against the rail. Not lethal, but stars bloomed in those stolen eyes. Security swarmed. I vanished into the metro, heart pounding like a war drum. That night, the worm deployed, slipped via a tainted USB at her hotel suite, courtesy of the ex. It burrowed slow, mapping my neural map, prepping the reversal. Climax brewed in the dead of winter, snow choking the city like lies. Victor, frantic, traced the leaks to Philly dives. Goons, his private muscle, ex-SALS with Iron Mike tattoos, raided my bolt hole. A warehouse squat by the Schuylkill. Gunfire stitched the walls. I fought dirty. This body a blunt instrument. Cracked a skull with a lead pipe. Felt ribs give under boot. Blood on my knuckles, his knuckles, not mine. Controversial? Hell yes. Mercy killing a guard who'd begged for family photos on his phone. But the alternative was capture, A one-way ticket to Echo's erasure protocol. Wounded. Leaking red from a graze. I dragged to a safe house in South Philly. Italian widows turning blind eyes for Benjamins. Patched with vodka and vet wrap. I initiated the endgame. Remote link to the lab console, worm granting God mode. Victor's alerts blared. Natalie Voss. Unraveling in her penthouse. Migraines from the drift. Synapses fraying. Memories bleeding, mine overriding his like kudzu on concrete. He called my old number. Voice cracking.
Stop this.
We can negotiate. Negotiate. I laughed. His timbre booming through the speaker. Like you did with Elena? Silence. Then a sob, not mine. It wasn't. I didn't mean. The twist hit like a blackout surge. As the worm peaked, forcing the swap reversal, data flooded, not just code, but buried logs. Victor hadn't initiated the frame.
I had. No, fragments.
Elena's voice in audio ghosts. Project Echo's first trial?
On me?
Voluntary amnesia to bury a secret. I discovered Victor's affairs. His schemes. But instead of blowing it, I dosed myself. Blacked out the evidence. Elena caught me covering, me staging her OD to silence the witness. Victor? He'd swapped to save me. Pulling me from the brink. Taking the fall's heat in my body to shield the firm. The betrayal reversed. I'd been the snake. Subconscious sins swapped into him. Horror choked me as the pods hummed virtual, consciousnesses yanking back. Pain eclipsed thought. Bodies inverting. I slammed into my own skin, gasping on penthouse silk. Victor across the link in his sagging frame. Eyes hollow.
You.
Remembered, he whispered. Collapsing. Guilt. A bikiller blade. I'd avenged a lie. Torched us both.
Hale dinamik scramlet, leaks viral.
Feds raiding at dawn. Victor. Broken. Took the rap. Embezzlement. Manslaughter.
Me?
Testified fractured. Glitch my defense. Walked free. But hollow.
Ending?
Debatable as a jury hung. I rebuilt in Seattle fog. Echo scrapped. A consultant ghosting ethics boards. Victor rots in Supermax. Writing letters I burn unread. Justice? Or just another swap? Sins circling eternal? In America, the dream devours its dreamers. And I, Natalie Voss, stare in mirrors wondering whose reflection won. The reversal left scars deeper than code burns, phantom itches where Victor's memories clung like burrs. I'd wake in my Astoria bed, sheets twisted, tasting phantom cigars, feeling the ghost of his paunch pressing my ribs. Therapy? A joke. Shrinks in Manhattan charge by the hour to unpack your daddy issues, not your stolen synapses. I ghosted sessions, dove into work instead, freelance gigs for startups, auditing neural AIs that promised empathy but delivered echo chambers. Safe. Sterile. But revenge's aftertaste is copper. It lingers, demanding seconds. Spring thawed the city. Cherry blossoms mocking the rot. News feeds buzzed with Hale Dynamics autopsy. Victor Hale. The real one. Indicted on racketeering. Elena's death reclassified homicide. Pundits frothed, Fox calling it tech tyranny's fall, MSNBC a patriarchy purge.
Me?
Natalie Voss. The survivor, splashed across Vanity Fair. Airbrushed into a phoenix. Interviews poured. TED stages.
Pod saves.
I played the part. Voice steady. Echo taught us hubris's price. Innovation without ethics? That's not progress. That's predation. But mirrors lied. At night, alone with takeout lo mein and Netflix true crime. The what-ifs nod. What if I'd blown the whistle clean? Pre-swap?
Elena Alive.
Victor exposed Sans body horror. Or deeper, my buried sins. The worm hadn't just reversed the swap. It had unearthed the vault in my subconscious.
Ide fra Matalena.
No, nuance twisted like bad wire. I'd discovered her skimming too. Jealous of her bored sway. Dosed her to quiet the noise, then blacked it with self-hypno via echo beta. Victor, loving in his crooked way, had covered, swapping to let me atone in amnesia. He'd borne my darkness, and I'd repaid with wormwood. Controversy simmered. A Senate hearing summoned me. Fluorescent hell under Capitol marble. Senators in flag pins grilled. MS. Voss. Did Hale Dynamics traffic human vessels? Was you complicit? Cameras rolled. My old colleagues, now rivals, testifying side-eye. I danced the line. I was manipulated. But the tech? It exposed truths we weren't ready for. Off record. A junior staffer slipped me a drive, redacted FBI chats. Victor's appeals. From his cell. Tell Nat it's forgiven. We were both monsters. Forgiven? Rage flared anew. Not at him, but the system. America's underbelly. The swaps weren't elite only. Dark web auctions peddled donors, slots, migrants. Addicts. The invisible swapped out for parts. Victor's innovation. My blueprint. I decided then. Gray area gut punch. Leak the full echo schematics. Not destructive, open source ethics mods. Watermarks to trace illicit rigs. Controversial? Riots in Silicon Valley forums. Ethicists decrying vigilante code. But it spread. Hackers twisting it for good. PTSD vets reclaiming stolen years.
Trafficking rings busted via neural traces.
Summer scorched. Humidity thick as regret. I relocated to a Brooklyn brownstone. Traded stilettos for docks. Grew my hair wild. Dates? Disasters, guys sensing the static. The famous but fractured vibe. 1. A barista poet with tattooed sonnets. Lasted 2 weeks till I ghosted mid-fight. His "You're intense" echoing Victor's old barbs. Intimacy now felt like invasion. Bodies as battlegrounds. Trust a glitch. The pull back to Manhattan was magnetic. Iron filings to a magnet. An invite. Echo's Memorial Symposium. Hosted by my successor. Lena, sharp as a switchblade. Who'd risen on the ruins. Honor the fallen, the card read. I went. Black dress like armor. Weaving through suits sipping Veuve. Lena cornered me by the podium. Nat. The board wants you back. Advisory role. Your name's gold now. Gold? Or fool's pyrite? Pass. I've got my own boardrooms. But eyes tracked me, whispers of the swapper, myths I'd birthed. A donor body, a trafficked teen named Maria, had surfaced in Queens, neural scarred but alive. Her story, swapped into an old hag's frame for a socialite's vanity, dumped when the novelty soured. She ID'd via my leaks. Sued Hale remnants. Controversy exploded. Op-eds on body autonomy. Protests outside my old lab. I met her in a dim talk area. Hands shaking over horchata. You gave me my skin back, she said. Accent, thick jersey. Now what? What? The decision clawed. Fund her suit pro bono. Or vanish deeper. I chose exposure, testified beside her. Spilling unredacted horrors. Tabloids feasted. Boss versus The void. Victor wrote from Attica. Proud of you.
Kid.
Finish what we... But the ash stuck. Fall leaves bled red on Central Park paths. Paranoia peaked, shadows lengthening. Goons from Victor's old network sniffing payback. A tail on the F train. A brick through my window-etched thief. I armed up. Pepper gel. A Glock from a Queen's contact. Debatable. A civilian packing heat in blue states. One night. Cornered in an alley off Bedford. 3 masks lunging. I fired wild. Kneecaps popping like fireworks. Sirens wailed. Cuffs clicked. Interrogation room reeked of stale Joe. Self-defense, the detective grunted, eyeing my file. But Voss, you're a walking headline. Bailed by dawn. Courtesy Lena's lawyers. The suits? Hired by a Hale holdout. A VP I'd overlooked, cunning weasel named Harlan, who'd profited off the donor trade. Twist's echo, he'd been Victor's puppet master. Pulling strings on the frame. The swap. Victor's innocence? Partial. Harlan the true spider. Weaving us both. Winter gripped again. Holidays hollow. I tracked Harlan to a vineyard estate. Blizzards blanking the coast. Infiltrated as catering staff, his arrogance. Assuming grunts invisible. Over claret and caviar. He boasted to cronies, Voss thinks it's over. But Echo 2.0? Offshore. Untraceable. My blood, Victor's old fire, boiled. Slipped a spiked flute his way. Not lethal. Just truth serum from a chem hookup. Confessions tumbled. Elena's hit. The frames. Even greenlighting my suicide pre-swap. Decided dark, no kill. But exposure raw. Live streamed his babble from a hidden cam. Viral before sensors blinked. Feds swarmed Martha's vineyard at first light. Harlan cuffed in silk pajamas.
Me?
Slipped the ferry. Wind whipping like judgment. Back in Brooklyn. Snow piling thresholds. Victor's last letter arrived. Contraband via a guard's pity.
Net.
The reversal showed me us. Flawed mirrors. If there's an afterlife swap, wait for me.
There's mine.
Finally, froze on cheeks. Endings debate. Redemption's arc. Or cycle's loop. I chose fragile hope, donating Echo mods to Maria's foundation. But in quiet, I wonder, whose sins linger now? The new year dawned like a hangover, resolutions brittle as rice paper. Maria's foundation ballooned. Echo echoes scrawled on protest signs from LA.
To DC. It consulted pro bono.
Tweaking code for consent locks. Neural firewalls. Fame's double edge. Invites to Davos knockoffs. But stalkers in coffee lines. Eyes hungry for the body thief's gospel. I, armored with routines. Runs along the East River at 5 a.m. Fog muffling the skyline sneer. Body mine again. But heavier, ghost weights of Victor's regrets pressing lungs. Betrayals layers peeled endless. Harlan's trial aired like reality TV, suits dissecting donor auctions. Elena's autopsy photos blurred for prime time. He lawyered up, claiming Voss coercion, twisting my spike into assault. Controversy crested. Swap justice trended. Blue checks debating. Ends justify means? I testified remote. Voice modulated. Spilling his web. Jury hung first round. Retrial loomed. Off mic. His glare through the feed. You think you're clean? Natalie? We all swapped pieces of hell. He wasn't wrong. Digging my own archives, therapy dumps from the clinic, I unearthed more voids. Pre-Elena. A junior dev. Tommy. Fired for incompetence. I'd buried his whistle on early echo glitches. Payoffs from petty cash. Took the fall?
No. Pinned it on him. Advanced my climb.
Sin stacked like cordwood. Victor's swap a mercy veil. The man I'd revenged on had been my shield, absorbing the shrapnel I fired blind. Spring bloomed venomous, pollen choking, allergies a metaphor for buried rot. Lena called. Voice honey over thorns. Nat. The boards were forming. Your seat's open, CIO. For real this time. Temptation nod. Power's siren song. Boardrooms where I'd once thrived. But decisions diverged. Accept. Rebuild from ashes? Or burn it all? Walk away? I chose hybrid, joined as ethics czar, a watchdog role laced with veto. Controversial hire. Old guard grumbled, Trojan horse, but Maria's endorsement sealed it. First day back. Glass towers loomed alien, echoes of that denial email haunting elevators. Victor reached out via smuggled pixels, a pixelated vid from Attica's library PC.
Got.
Orange jumpsuit swallowing frame. But his eyes soft. Heard about Harlan. You finished it. Proud.
Net så vitenskapelig.
If I get paroled. Coffee. Static cut. I replayed. Throat tight. Paroled? For covering my kills? Debatable mercy. Lobby his appeal. Or, let karma ledger close. Summer sweltered conspiracies. Echo 2.0 rumors bubbled. Harlan's offshore ghost. Rigs in Belize swapping narcos for suits. I greenlit a task force. Hackers. Feds. My coded helm. Raids hit humid nights. Pods seized amid screams.
Van op.
Miami yacht, I went field. Glock heavy in my purse. Stormed the hold. Found a pod mid-swap. Traffic girl mid-teen. Consciousness yanked into a cartel don's husk. I yanked the kill switch. Her eyes, originals, fluttering thanks. But the dawn, in her body, lunged feral. Wrestled him down. Zip ties biting wrists. Controversial shot, tasered lethal. Heart giving out. Body count mine again. Headline screamed, Voss vigilante. Fall harvested reckonings. Victor's appeal hearing, I testified character. Voice cracking on the stand. He saved me from myself. Judge leaned lenient. Parole granted. Conditions tight. Release day. Attica gates clanged open to autumn chill. He emerged shrunken. Gray beard trimmed neat. Duffel slung. We met at a diner off I-90, neutral turf. Upstate nowhere. Booths sticky with syrup ghosts. Coffee black as grudges. Nice threads, he said. Eye my blazer. Still got that killer instinct. Shut up.
Beak.
But a laugh escaped. Rusty. We talked circuits. His prison reads, Dostoevsky on guilt. My leaks. The lives unswapped. Betrayal unpacked. Not excused. I covered for you, he admitted. Stirring sugar endless. But Elena. That was on you. We both drowned her ghost. Truth's blade twisted mutual. No swap back, bodies settled. Souls scarred mosaic. Decision loomed. Rekindle the old fire. Or cauterize. We chose Fragile Bridge, weekly calls. Him in a halfway in Buffalo. Me commuting chaos. Dates? Chaste walks in Delaware Park. Leaves crunching confessions. Winter whispered threats. Harlan's retrial jury acquitted, hungover technicality. His lawyers spinning entrapment. He vanished stateside. Whispers of a Mexican bolt hole. Paranoia redux. Tales on my commute. Bricks now with notes. Your turn to swap. I bolstered. Bodyguard from a firm Elena's kin vouched. A brick wall named Jack's. Ex-cop with a Brooklyn drawl. Lena pushed board protections. I waved off. Stubborn. Can't run forever. Climax brewed Christmas Eve. Snow apocalypse blanking JFK. Victor in town for holiday eval, crashing my brownstone. Tree half-strung. Lights flickering like bad code. Mulled wine steaming when the door splintered. Harlan's crew. 5 shadows in balaclavas. Irons drawn. Voss ends tonight, the lead growled. Philly accent thick. Chaos erupted. Jax barreled from the kitchen. Tackling 2, Victor. Old instincts flaring. Grabbed a fire poker. Swinging wild. I dove for the Glock in the coat rack. Chambering rounds amid shattering ornaments. Shots cracked, plaster puffing. A goon crumpling knee shot. Harlan himself. Last man. Cornered by the hearth. Sneer twisted. You stole my empire.
Bitch.
Time to donate that pretty shell. I leveled the barrel. Finger itching apocalypse. Controversial precipice. Execute. Become the monster full? Or cuff? Let laws slow grind? Victor's hand on my shoulder. Steady. Don't.
Net så vilidenskapelig.
We're better.
Bang.
Not mine. Jax's backup. Harlan's shoulder blooming red. Cops swarmed post-blizzard. Tasers humming. Harlan cuffed. Spitting curses. Crew zip-tied. Bleeding on my rug. Aftermath. Holidays in holding patterns.
Statements till dawn.
Victor stayed. Crashing the couch. Our bridge battle-tested. But the twist lingered. Harlan's parting shot. Whispered to feds. Ask Voss about Tommy. The kid she buried pre-echo. Vault cracked wider. Tommy. Not just fired. Pushed to suicide. My ambitions roadkill. Another sin swapped into Victor's ledger. His cover extending to hush funds for the family. Debate eternal. Absolution's myth? We chose tentative thaw, Victor house hunting near. Me expanding echoes global. But in quiet, mirrors mock, whose reflection stares back. Truly? Dawn of the reckoning year broke brittle. Resolutions forged in fire's forge. Harlan extradited south. Mexican feds cracking his rig network, pods unearthed in Juarez warehouses. Donors' ghosts repatriated. Trials chained his, then spillover suits against hail remnants. I became the reluctant face, depositions in sun-baked courtrooms. Voice echoing off-tile. Maria co-counseled. Her English sharpening like a blade. Turning victim to viper. We swap the narrative, she'd say. Fist bumping over ceviche. Empowerment's rhythm. American as apple pie laced with jalapeno. Victor's reintegration stuttered. Halfway rules chafing. Job hunts dead-ending at prior CEO, side eyes. I pulled string subtle. Consulting gig at a nonprofit. Auditing green tech for ethics snags. He thrived quiet. Beard gone silver. Eyes crinkling genuine. Our rhythm settled. Sundays at Zabbers. Bagels and locks dissecting headlines. Nights debating Dostoevsky over bourbon. Sins as plot points. Intimacy crept cautious. A hand on knee during the wire marathons.
Kiss testing forgiveness tentative.
Debatable dance. Lovers reborn. Or codependence clinging wreckage. Betrayal's final peal came spring. Cherry festivals masking thorns. Tommy's family surfaced a sister. Gone accountant from Ohio. Emailing cold. He mentioned you before the end. Said you promised help.
Attachment, suicide note scan.
My name scrawled frantic. Vault imploded. Memories unblacked. Tommy catching my skim on a sub-project. Me gaslighting till he snapped. Victor wiring the hush post-mortem. I'd borne nothing. He'd shouldered my cascade. Decisions abyss. Confess public. Torch the phoenix? Or private penance? Fund scholarships in Tommy's name? We chose hybrid, anonymous endowment via Echo Echoes. Plaque reading for the overlooked innovators. Victor's toast at the unveiling, to glitches we can't debug. His hand in mine. Public first, paparazzi flashes blinding. But grip iron. Summer stormed electric, heat waves warping asphalt. Protests swelling against neural inequality. I keynote at TechCrunch disrupt. Stage lights hot as judgment. Swaps aren't salvation, they're spotlights on our shadows. Q&A turned ambush. A heckler? Harlan acolyte. Mike hot. What about your shadows? Voss. Tommy Klein. Your collateral? Gasps rippled. Security swarmed. I froze. Then leaned in. A mistake I own. And I'm paying forward. Viral clip. Debates detonating. Redemption real. Or PR polish. Fall harvested uneasy peace. Victor proposed over autumn leaves in Prospect Park. Ring pilfered from a estate sale. Simple gold band etched mirrored. I said yes. Debatable as destiny. Second chances scripted. Or earned in the rewrite. Wedding small. Maria matron. Jack's best man. Brownstone backyard strung lights. Vows swapped neural. In this body. Or the next. I choose you. Laughter amid cake smears. But undercurrent tugged, secrets tied. Everlapping. Winter's grip loosened to climate's chaos. Blizzards then bombs. Nature's swap. Echo Echoes globalized, Berlin hubs tracing illicit links. Tokyo trials with consent vaults ironclad. I stepped back CEO. Lena Helm, focused advocacy. Testifying un panel on consciousness rights. Victor co-piloted. His gravitas grounding my fire. But controversy clung. A donor scandal. Elite swap ring busted in Dubai. My old code fingerprints faint. Accusations flew. Voss enabled it. Lawsuits loomed. We lawyered fierce. Counters proving mods blocked abuses. Climax crested Yule. Eve of our first anniversary.
Anonymous tip. Harlan escaped custody.
Cartel ties springing him. Paranoia peaked. Tales real now. Shadows whispering Spanish. Jack's upped detail. Victor armed the mantle. Christmas morn. Snow pristine. Package arrived unmarked. Tommy's old laptop. Drive humming horrors. Logs of my original frame. Pre-amnesia. Twists apex. I'd initiated Echo's dark turn. Pitching illicit trials to Victor for funding kick. He'd resisted. Till Elena's death, my hand, forcing his cover. The snake? Me. Ambition serpent. Swapping sins onto him, to slither free. Horror hollowed. Victor found me curled on the study floor. Screen glowing accusation.
Net så videnskapelig.
He knelt. Arms enveloping. We both coded this mess. But I started it. Sobs racked.
Raw.
Then we end it together. His kiss salt stung. Forgiveness forged hotter. Harlan's endgame hit midnight mass, our parish. Candles flickering vigil. He stormed aisle. Wild-eyed. Pistols snaking from coat.
Voss.
Your empire falls. Congregation screamed. Jax tackled. But bullet winged Victor's shoulder. Red blooming hymnal. I lunged. Tackling Harlan's legs. Glock skidding free. Wrestle chaotic, nails raking. Knee to gut. Controversial crescendo. My hands on his throat.
Skvissing till ejes bulged.
For Tommy, For Elena, Jack's pride free, cops cuffed. Harlan gasping curses.
Victor pats DR.
Stitches silver under fluorescence. Close call, he murmured.
Fingers la cedmine.
Too close. Decision crystallized. No more gray. Full transparency. Post-op presser. Hospital gown my armor. My sins. Tommy's push. Elena's end. Victor covered. I revenged blind. Now, we atone open. Feeds exploded, Voss confession trending global. Debates raging. Villain's veil lifted. Or martyr's ploy. Endings ink bleeds ambiguous. Harlan life bid. Dubai ring dismantled. Echo echoes thrives. Safeguards synaptic. Victor heals. Our brownstone hearth stories swapped nightly. Happy? In fractures, love's weld holding. But crack spider. Tragic? In the ghost circling. Sin's echo eternal. Readers argue. Redemption's swap. Or illusion's loop. In America's grind. We choose the code we run flawed. Fierce. Forever debating the debug.